This is something we've been talking about doing for quite a while. Brought to you by Dwell Hawaii, your guide to all things living in Hawaii. I'm Maila, not Malia Gibson, and we've got a very special guest here today. And for our very first episode and our very first show, we've got a very special guest. She was Miss Hawaii in 2003. First runner-up at Miss America. She was also a host of a show called Hi Now. She's a mommy. She's a wife. She's my little sister. Please welcome Kanoe Gibson Nitta.
Hello.
Hello.
You guys look very nice.
Well, so do you.
I
You're
look
very tan.
very on vacation.
That's good. We had a very good vacation day today.
Yes. Yes. Good to be home as always.
Welcome home. Part of my agenda for having you on this show today was just to talk story a little bit, but you are also kind of like the poster child for people who moved away from Hawaii to Las Vegas.
Oh, okay.
And being that Koa and I are in real estate, this is a story that's top of mind with us. We do a lot of stuff on social media and YouTube, and so we hear a lot from our viewers about the cost of living in Hawaii and how hard it is. And of course, somebody will always mention something about moving to Vegas. So we want to talk about that.
Okay.
So let's just kind of go for it. Tell us how you got there. And okay, well, first, I think it's important to give a little bit of perspective because Koa, you and we were not born here. So
Right.
we're not technically from Hawaii. We were raised in Missouri, so we have this experience already of living on the mainland. So for us to move to the mainland or to spend an extended amount of time there, it's not that much of a leap.
Right.
So anyway, I'll just open it up to you. Talk about that.
I mean, for my husband, though, for Guy,
This is true.
a big leap, from Kauai. True local boy, thought would never move away, and it was more him than me, right? So for us, it happened, gosh, we were in the middle of COVID, I think.
Yes.
Middle of COVID. So that was a big factor. And it was around that time that the state was talking about raising the income tax. And, we're small business owners, and that's a very hard thing. If anybody owns a business in Hawaii, it's already difficult. And then when you start talking about raising the income tax, even more so, you'll start doing calculations and you're thinking, wow, this is wild. And so for us, when we saw the numbers, we were like, that is a mortgage, and so that was the first thing that kind of pushed us a little bit in that direction. And things just kind of snowballed. We knew it was the right decision just because of the way things were moving along. There were words spoken over us in church, and none of it lined up until we realized, oh my gosh, this was all part of it, right? So that was that. And then some of the things that we started taking into account was the fact that we have children and what does their future look like? And so, how can we make their future better? How can we allow our children to be able to live in Hawaii comfortably without having to struggle, And so for us, we knew that if we made this move, it's an investment. Yeah, it takes away a little bit from our lifestyle here in Hawaii and being able to live here, but we knew that it was going to be beneficial for the future of them, So, and then not only that, like you said in the beginning, we know what it's like living in the mainland. We know the opportunities that are there. We know, so many things that you can do. You can get into a car and drive for miles one day, without having to pay a plane ticket. So there's a lot of things that went into the decision. But at the end of the day, we just knew it was the right move for us, which I know there was a story that was done. Even I did a podcast before I left, with someone talking about being priced out of paradise. I know that's a very real conversation that a lot of people have. And so when people come to me asking me about my move, and they come with that specific agenda, I have to be very real with them that, that wasn't my story. And so I don't know if it would have been as easy of a move if I had to sell my house and if I knew I could never come back. And I think a lot of people don't take that into consideration because that's a very real thing. And it's very sad to see people in that position at the end of the day,
Why was it Vegas and not somewhere else? Because you were not a Vegas person.
Oh, no.
I go to Vegas more than you do.
Yeah.
Even still, you live there now, and I don't even think you go to the Strip.
I mean, I don't. I mean,
Right.
the Strip is our Waikiki.
Totally.
Yeah, Vegas was the last on the list. We actually considered Texas. We considered Tennessee. We considered Seattle, and our whole goal was to get out of the state tax. That was our main goal because of the business. And so we looked at every other place but Vegas. But at the end of the day, Guy works for Hawaiian Airlines, and so we knew that would be the smartest move for us, because now, and it makes more sense now, his layover is at home. So it makes sense for us.
I remember when you guys came to the conclusion that you were going to move, it was when we were in Missouri.
Yes.
And we were there visiting Dad and our older sister, Koa's mom. And I don't know, I was like in the living room and you guys were talking about it. And it was just like, yes, we're going to Vegas. And I was like, what? This is crazy.
Yeah.
And for me, it was like, I was super upset. I mean,
Yes.
Anybody that knows me, even people who watch our YouTube videos, like they'll see me out in public and they'll be like, you do a YouTube. And I'm like, yeah. And like, oh, your sister moved away. Like, I don't know. That's like the video that people relate to the most.
Wow.
So I remember that feeling of like, oh my gosh, my family's leaving. And I felt super alone in my thoughts because you guys were so excited.
Right.
Because there's like this new adventure, So I often wonder if local families who have, families that move away to Vegas, if they experience that same tug of war, because it truly was like a tug of war. I was so mad.
I know.
I'm not mad anymore.
You
but
yelled at me.
I was so mad.
Yeah.
All out of love.
I'm sure they do, because when I talk to local families there, a lot of people actually moved their whole family to Vegas after they made the move, and they're still trying. I'll talk to people and they're like, I'm trying to get my sister to move here. I'm trying to get my parents to move here. And lo and behold, that's what happened even with us,
Mom there.
and Papa are
and
now
I
there.
called it from the beginning.
Yeah.
I was like, Mom, you're going to move to Vegas. No, I'm not. I hate Vegas. Mom loves Vegas.
She loves
Mom
Vegas.
was going to Vegas. Like, she's been to your house in Vegas more than she's been to my house in Hawaii, Kai. It's crazy. And she lived right down the street from me.
Yeah.
But she loves you. And the kids. And so I think that's a big part of it. But she also likes Vegas.
She does.
She likes to go there and, eat in the restaurants and shop and all of the whatever. And I think that is something that isn't talked about enough, that people don't move to Vegas strictly because of cost of living. They're also going to a place that they like. Like Kaylee and I, my husband, we just came back from a vacation in Bend, Oregon, and we loved it. And we were entertaining thoughts of buying a place there and potentially moving there. And it was for no other reason other than we like it.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. I'm not judging. I'm just being curious, like how many people actually move there simply because they like it, in addition to the cost of living and the no state income taxes, et cetera. So what do you experience when you talk to local people there? Do you hang out with local people?
Right, we do. So the people I've come across, the ones who moved to Las Vegas because they love it, and then the benefit is that the cost of living is lower, they go there with the attitude of, I'm going to love Vegas because I love Vegas. And then they end up loving Vegas. Then there are the people who I have met who moved there because of the cost of living with this false sense of, I'm going to love Las Vegas. And they are the ones who end up almost angry, very sad, miss home. And that was what I was talking about. When you come to that point of, I sold everything, or maybe they didn't sell, maybe they just left everything, and now trying to get back here, that road is very hard, because it's only getting more expensive. And that's, at the end of the day, that's just the way life is. There's nothing we can really do about it. And we can cry about it, yell about it, but it's not going to change anything.
Are people moving there and buying houses from Hawaii? Obviously, that's what you guys did.
Yeah.
We know other people that do that. Our auntie is there now, too. She bought a house. Mom and Papa bought a house.
Yeah.
They never owned a house in their entire life. So, I mean, gosh, that's 3 in our family that have bought houses in Vegas. The people that you meet there that are moving to Vegas, are they buying houses or are they?
It's both.
Okay.
It's both. There are people who are able to buy when they couldn't buy here, because you can. But I'm going to be honest with you, Vegas is getting very expensive. I mean, Guy and I thought we were going to go there and pick out 2 houses for the price of one. It's not like that. You know, when we went there, of course, it was in the middle of COVID. People were coming in. I mean, people are still coming in and buying cash. And so we had a very hard time.
California.
Yeah. We had a very hard time getting our home, and we paid Hawaii prices, you know.
You did.
Granted, we live in a very nice area. We did that with purpose to be able to
you did it in the peak of the market, like it was
yeah.
2021.
Right. And for us, we knew, because let me just tell you something too. The school system in Nevada, you think Hawaii is bad. Nevada's actually worse. Las
Really?
Vegas is actually worse overall.
Then Hawaii.
Overall on the ranking. I believe so in the rankings. But in certain areas, it's far better.
Sure.
So where we live, we knew we needed to live there because the schools are better, right? So, but a lot of people don't have that option. And that's another thing. They'll end up going there and they find out that the schools are not as good, or the kids are different, you know, and I'm not going to say in a bad way. It's just different. It's not Hawaii. And it's a little bit of a rude awakening, I think, for some people, because they just think they're going to be rock stars over there. And that's not the case. It's actually becoming quite expensive there. We live in a very nice bubble. I like to call it a bubble. We live in Summerlin, and it's far from the Strip. It doesn't feel like desert land, you know. It's Howard Hughes development, so it's a master plan community, and I don't leave that bubble a whole lot. And I went to Las Vegas with a very positive attitude. I'm gonna love it. We're gonna get our kids involved in things, and that has been the case. We've done all of that, and so it's been a very positive experience for me. But then when I leave my bubble, I say to myself, I could never live here. I could not live in Vegas outside of my bubble. And I don't say that with like a haughty attitude, but when you get the reality of the violence, I mean, the violence there is off the charts. I mean, it's insane.
You were saying that today. Like,
yeah.
People are robbed while they're in their bed, while their dog is barking.
Yeah.
And they came and went, and no one knew. No one knew.
Yeah, and they're
it's
saying
brazen.
It's brazen, and they're saying that, you know, it's desperate times, and it's happening even here in Hawaii.
Yeah.
We're not going to ignore that.
Yeah.
But the things you see on the news there, it's almost becoming so like, oh, another shooting, okay, you know, it's just normal. So there's that, and I don't know. At first, when I moved there, I'm like, oh, the people are so nice. The customer service is amazing. You know, it's so different. But then the longer you live there, you start to see a very different side of people, right? And it is just so different. You're never going to have what we have here. Hawaii is so special. It really is so special. The family connections. I mean, even as many local people as you will come in contact with, as many local parties as you go to, those things are wonderful. But if you don't have what we have here, you can't replace that, you know? And I think that's where it becomes a very sad reality for people when they leave all of that and they aren't able to come back. Like for us, we get to come back, you know? So when people ask me, when they DM me, hey, Kanoe, we see you guys love Vegas. We're thinking about moving. We're talking about selling. And I always tell them, please be realistic about this, you know, because if we love it, yes, but I don't know that I would love it if I didn't have a home. I don't know that I would love it if my husband didn't fly for Hawaiian. And I don't, oh man, I mean, the thought of just leaving that piece that you said, that small investment that you do have, you probably will never get that back.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think that is a huge consideration to take into account. When I see these heated, viral Hawaii versus Las Vegas Instagram posts, right? And you've got people firing on both sides. The weather is often one of the biggest things people talk about. You live in the desert and then you're going to have heat in the summer and cold winters. Personally, I like it. I really do like the desert weather. And for me, it's one, because of allergies, two, because of eczema and all of these things. And I'm always freezing. So I like the heat. But a lot of people don't. And that is, again, another rude awakening for them, you know? And it's like, oh, I grew up with this year-round beautiful weather and now I have to deal with this, you know? But It is what you make it. And most of the time you're indoors in air conditioning anyway.
I was going to say, you're in your beautiful home in Summerlin.
Yeah,
so
right.
it's lovely.
Yeah. And you're kind of just hopping from your home to your air conditioned car to an air conditioned store or restaurant.
Yeah.
And it's fine. But you do have to deal with that.
I don't hear too many people grumble about it as much as I would think. And again, Hawaiians go to Vegas in the summer.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the most popular times.
I mean, I can't get home this weekend because of that.
There you go. So I don't think we hate that weather as much as we think we do.
Yeah.
Unless you're stuck in it. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And a thing that I hear a lot of people say, the ones who love Vegas, they say, if I could change anything, I would have moved sooner. And Guy actually says that.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, he actually says that. And so I feel like it's one of those, you're either going to love it or you're going to hate it, you know? And you have to think very clearly before you make that move. Like, don't just jump and go because you think you're being, pushed out.
What has it done for your relationship with Hawaii now? So when you guys were leaving, you were pissed off and ready to go.
Yeah.
Just you hated it here. Cause I mean, you were just, and I think
it was COVID.
It was COVID for sure.
Yeah.
And then you're also really excited about your move.
Yes.
So, I mean, of course you're going to be like, get me out of here.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Now that it's been like 3 years since you guys have been there.
Mm-hmm.
And I've noticed something different this trip with you being home.
Yeah.
So, and I also noticed that when Hawaiians move somewhere on the mainland, I've done it too. We become more Hawaiian. Like we fly the Hawaiian flag and we listen to Hawaiian music. We have all the stickers on our truck, so anyway, talk about that.
There was a journey. When we left and we moved, it was like, I don't even want to go back to Hawaii on vacation. Like, don't make me move back. I want to live here forever. I love it here. I still feel that way. Like I still love it there. But it took 3 years for me to really fall in love with Hawaii again. And I never hated Hawaii. I can say that I might have hated the system.
Got it.
And again, amplified by COVID. But it has made me appreciate it a lot more. But I also find that that's probably something that has to do with inner peace. Like living in Las Vegas and not being in this corporate job anymore, being a stay-at-home mom, now doing something that I'm passionate about. That's all been a factor, in my own peace and the way that I love where I live, but I also love where I came from. And there's not that tug of war anymore with me. I can appreciate where I'm at and I can just be content in my situation. So
maybe there is an argument for, we're always trying to get people to stay here, right? Like contrary to what people think about real estate agents or us as real estate agents, even with our YouTube channel, we aren't telling people to move here. And we're not trying to get everybody to sell their house and move away. Like it's the opposite. We're trying to educate people on what Hawaii is really like, which is kind of the purpose of this today, is educating people on what Vegas is really like by having you here talking about it. But perhaps, and somebody brought this up to me the other day because I was on a podcast and I said, I wish parents would stop telling their kids they're never going to make it here. Yeah. Stop saying it around the house that you kids are never going to be able to buy anything. You're not going to be able to live here. You're not going to be able to afford it. We got to move to Vegas. It makes kids talk that talk, right? And then like what you say becomes your reality. But somebody did say you need to be honest with the kids. And I'm like, I was never saying to lie to them. But then they were like, somebody else said, it's okay to move away. Hawaii is not all that. So I'm thinking, is there an argument maybe for not Hawaiians should be leaving, no Hawaiians, no aloha. I'm not trying to say any of that, but like, it's okay because I love it here. And I was not born here.
Yeah.
We grew up here for part of our childhood. We would come back and see grandma, auntie, our cousins, everybody. But I think having lived somewhere else makes us appreciate it here so much more. Is there maybe an argument for that? I don't know.
I always say that I would never trade the life that I lived, in going back and forth and being educated in both places and being able to compare and contrast. And I mean, it helped me make an informed decision about the way I was going to raise my own kids. And it helped inform my decision of moving to Vegas even. So Yes. And I mean, it really saddens me, honestly, whenever I see those posts that I was just talking about. And it's almost like there are these two schools that are trying to fight for what is better.
Yeah.
Hawaii is better. There's no place like home. Yeah, maybe to you, but maybe to somebody else, moving away is the better option for them to spread their wings a little bit, to be able to live a different life. Because if you really think about it, I mean, what is home, right? Like,
Yes.
home is what you make it. And you could very well still be just as Hawaiian living in Kansas.
True.
And so it makes me sad. I mean,
Or house it.
And you know that can we just insert your mother's license plate right there?
Right.
So that makes me really sad when I see people and it's Hawaiian against Hawaiian.
It is.
Fighting against each other, claiming that you are no longer, Hawaiian if you move away, or that
they'll
you're
say
less
that-
than.
We are part Hawaiian, but
Yeah.
then like I get called out for not being Hawaiian enough because I wasn't born here. I don't get to choose where I was born.
Yeah.
I have nothing to do with that, and neither did you.
Right.
Sorry.
Not mad about that at all.
Have you found that there's you saying you want the 2 spoons and the 1 frying pan and the simple life? Is there pressure on the mainland to keep up?
Absolutely.
Is it? Because I feel like we don't have that pressure here. And I see
We
your
do
kids
not.
wearing those Filipino sandals.
And we love our Filipino sandals.
You guys love your Filipino sandals,
Yeah.
but can you wear them there? Can Keelan wear those to school and not get made fun of?
No way.
He cannot,
no
right?
way.
Okay.
And I think that's been one of the hardest things for him to adapt to, is why do people care so much about this stuff? Why does it matter what kind of bag I'm carrying? Why does it matter what kind of haircut I get? I mean, even a haircut matters, And that is very sad. I mean, we even feel that pressure, and we're not the kind of people who actually care about what people think about us, But I remember when we moved into our neighborhood, into our big new house, and we thought we've got this big new house, and then we went to our neighbor's house who has an even bigger, nicer house. And then we're like, you're never coming to our house. I mean, because it happens so fast. That the
saw
keeping
it.
up with the Joneses is a very real thing.
When your kids came home the first time after you guys had moved and Rel's wearing like Nike Air Force Ones, I'm like,
Yeah.
what? Like, we don't wear those here. And I'm like, and I wasn't judging. I was actually empathizing because us being in Missouri, it was that way.
It was.
I went back to Missouri after being here for 4 years of slippers and tita bun and who cares what kind of shorts you're wearing.
Yeah.
We wore bongo shorts.
Right.
And in Missouri, you would not wear bongo.
No way. You wear Guess.
Yes. It was Guess. And you couldn't even wear Z Cavarici, which was super cool here. You could not wear that there. You
Yeah.
get made fun of.
What happens in Las Vegas is the local families tend to move to the more local areas. I mean, even if you go, you follow this Ninth Island Connections Facebook page. That's kind of the page that everybody follows. And the post that you'll see every day is, where is everybody moving? I mean, because these are people from Hawaii now wanting to figure out where are all the local people at. So absolutely, they want to congregate where the local people are, I think. I'm not speaking for everyone, but for a lot of them, yeah. And it makes that transition a little bit easier, I think, And, honestly, I'm going to say the local food there is incredible. You can get some really good poke there. We always say the poke there is better than Hawaii.
What?
I know it sounds crazy, but it's really good. Poke Express
I don't believe
is
you.
really good.
I don't believe you.
All you can eat sushi. There are definitely some perks about living there. But again, it's just, it's not here.
I sang at a big festival in December and it was like 1,000 people.
Yeah.
And it was all local people. I felt like I was at the Sheraton Waikiki at like a big Mother's Day concert or a big halau ho'ike. And there were all the crafters. I mean, it just felt like Hawaii. And I made it a point to talk to people and just like, how do you like living here? And everybody's answer, they were all positive.
Yeah.
Love it here. It's not home, so that was common. But there are times that I still feel like Missouri is home, right? So
Yeah.
like if I'm going to go visit Missouri, I think I've gotten farther from it, but I used to say like, I'm going to go home to visit. Hawaii is definitely that.
I mean, we say that about Kauai too.
Yes. Yeah. We do. So Hawaii is definitely home. Will Vegas ever be home?
Oh man. No, I think when we say we're going home, it's always here, I think. But for me, I always had an affinity for the mainland. I loved it. You know, I am kind of a monkey mind, so I love the idea of the world is my oyster and it's right there and I don't have to get on a plane to get to it.
Yeah.
So I love that. And again, when I said earlier, what is home? Home is what you make it. So there is a sense of my heart in Las Vegas feeling like it is home, but at the core of the heart, it'll always be here, I think. And that is the case with, I think, everybody who came from here, who lives there, even the ones who love it. They will call home here. This is home. Yeah. So maybe not the angry ones. Maybe not the ones who are mad, but I think for the most part, yeah, Hawaii is home.
Hawaii's home.
This trip, I think, was very different. I was excited to come back. Even living in Kauai, you know, you and I lived in Kauai for a couple of years. Mom moved there when we were 12, or when I was 12. And I'm not typically excited to go there for long periods, but this time I wanted to stay. And so I don't know what the shift was, but yeah, I am excited now. But initially I wasn't. You know, I'm like, oh, I gotta go back. And it was a chore. It was a chore because I wasn't so far removed yet. But now I feel like we're a little more removed, and now that appreciation has come back. And I think that was part of it too, because I was the first 2 years just starting things up, you know? And so now I've got a little bit more of a cruise control ability. So now this is more like a vacation. Whereas before it was more of a burden. Like, oh gosh, this is taking away from what I need to be doing at home. I need to get back home. Yeah.
And that's an interesting point, because when we talk about the rat race of Hawaii and I got to go to work and I got to make ends meet, like that can happen anywhere.
Absolutely.
Right. So like you're in Vegas, you've got this crazy successful YouTube channel now, podcast, and you're like in the thick of it, and it keeps you from doing things because I got to film, I got to go to bed, I got to write my content for tomorrow or whatever. I got to study the Bible and make sure that I'm on it. Yeah. So I think that that's also a very important thing for people to consider, you know, again, not trying to preach at anybody, but, you know, just know that, yeah, moving anywhere is like a new adventure. It's a new dream. Like, but you're going to get there and you're going to get a job, and then you're going to have to pay your bills. And there's still, like, if you buy a house, there's going to be a mortgage and you're going to have a car payment, and there's all these things. And then all of a sudden it's like, now what? Right? Like you're back in the same throes of life that you were in here. It's cheaper, but you know, is it really anything different? Either you guys or Auntie Kim to come back.
Right.
I'm curious. I'm just wondering. I used to pray for it.
I think Auntie Kim's going to come back.
I do too. I do too. And I was talking to one of her friends. So a lot of people who move there too are retiring. Like they're going to Vegas with a great pension plan or whatever, right? And that was them, and that was her other friend. And I remember it was like in December, I think I talked to her friend, and her friend was like, oh yeah, I'm selling my Vegas house. I'm moving back to Hawaii. And I was like, how long have you been in Vegas? She's like, 3 years. And I was like, Like, I kind of wonder if that's like the trajectory, you know, like after about 3 years, you're kind of like, all right, been there, done that. Right. I think we want to go back to Hawaii now.
I think we will always have a place there. Just whenever we plan out our future, because it just makes sense for the business and then also for our retirement. I would never, this is the funny thing, I cannot think of any place else in the country I would want to live, interestingly enough. Wow. Like that was the last place I wanted to live. Now there's no place else I can think of where I'd want to live. Yeah. And it comes down to the conveniences, and maybe it will change when my priorities change. But right now I can get anything I want at any time of the day. If I need my house worked on, there are a million people out there to get it done. I can eat if I'm craving any culture of food, I will I will have it at my fingertips. You know, you're not going to get that anywhere else. You move to Texas, it's like you got steak and potatoes probably as an option and maybe a McDonald's, right?
Yep.
Not every place in Texas, and I know please don't come at me with that, but I'm just saying, like any place else in the country, it's not like that. Like Vegas is very cosmopolitan, and it has everything you would want. Amazon comes sometimes in 4 hours, you know?
Yeah.
So that's what I love. I love the weather, all of that. So we will always have a place there, but the goal is always to get back here. Mm-hmm. And again, like I said from the beginning, the goal was so that our children could come back here and live comfortably. You know, that's what we are setting them up for. I mean, that's why I think we went there.
I wish I could ask your kids right now.
Oh, they would move back yesterday.
Rel, would you move back to Hawaii yesterday? Would you move back to Hawaii yesterday? Today? Yeah. That was, it was so immediate. Keelan, would you move back?
Oh, Keelan never moved away in his brain. He never moved. Yeah, he's trying to get back here every day. Yeah.
Well, hopefully you do.
Initially, I think the kids liked the adventure, the idea of the adventure. Rel has done really well adapting. She's younger.
Yes.
But Keelan was in middle school in that weird transition.
So hard.
Very hard. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And especially, I think, because he comes back here and he sees the stark difference between people.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way, but it's just different.
Yeah.
And even more so, he's just like, I need to get back here. How am I going to get back here? And so we explain to him every day, we are building your life so you can get back here.
This has been an amazing conversation. I think we've been going for like over an hour. So let's end it. Speaking of like social media and like the comments that we get, you have a YouTube channel.
I do.
Crazy awesome. And it's Heart Dive.
With
Heart
Kanoe.
Dive.
Heart Dive with
Kanoe on YouTube. Check it out. People come up to me all the time. They think I'm you.
Oh.
Or that I'm Malia. Who's Maila? I don't know. But what has been like your craziest, and I don't know if you look at the comment section. I try not to very often, but every now and then I see something and I'm like, what? What has been the one comment that has stuck out the most?
Oh.
Like that you're just like, what?
What was the one I just told you
It
about?
changes.
It does. It changes.
There was one that was, if I wasn't already halfway through the year with you, I would unfollow you.
Yes. That was the most recent one. And I'm like, girl, bye. Like, what is holding you back? If you don't follow me, don't follow me. I mean, I have people who are like, girl, I hate your eyelashes. Like, good. It's interesting. I'm sure you've seen some wild ones.
I have. What's been my most wild one I don't know. It changes.
Yeah.
TikTok. Are you on TikTok? TikTok's like a whole other place.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm very conflicted about being there.
Yeah.
But if you want to be the light in darkness, you could certainly be on TikTok with your Bible study.
No, we have some Bible study content on
you do?
TikTok. Yeah,
Okay.
but we're not active there.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, everybody. Maybe when Kanoe comes back again on the weekend, we'll have you back.
Okay.
Maybe this will be a podcast with the three of us.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, that does.
Let's do it.
Promise?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Aloha.
Bye.